Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of Ukikicast, the first time in a while. Sorry about the delays, there's been a rough summer. I'm your host, Untitled and today we have a special guest, one of the original Super Mario 64 glitch hunters and exploiters, Domdunc. How are you doing today, Dom?
I'm doing all right, thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty swell. Nice Saturday afternoon. So, just for the context, for some of the people who might not know you very well, you were a big name back in the original days of Super Mario 64 glitches, way back in the GameFAQs, Angel Fire, way back in those days, way predating me. And
Yeah,
you've
that's
discovered
right.
the route to one of the most ran speedrun categories of all time. I'll get into that specifically in a little bit, but I'd like to start from the very beginning. How did you get started with Super Mario 64?
Well, with that game specifically, I just got it when it came out, basically, like everybody else, and I just played it religiously for about 10 years, essentially, because it's pretty much my favorite game of all time. So I just played
Same.
it so much that I could just play it in my sleep, basically. And then when I got the internet in like the early 2000s, found all these forums and all these websites about it and all this stuff. And so I was like, oh, I could beat all these guys. So I just started doing that. Essentially, that's how I started.
What do you mean by like beat 'em in terms of like?
Well, like in terms of the strategies they were using and games that they were playing, basically. So it was only like Doom and Quake and things like this that had speed runs.
Ah, right.
And then and they were just like in-game timer. So they would just post their times and demos of the games.
So
And I
you
was like, yeah, go on.
no, sorry, you're good.
And so then I was like, well, I could do this as well. So I just started doing that and just playing the games fast, basically.
And you've done that ever
And then,
since, like all the way back then. You still
yeah,
do that to this
basically,
day?
well, yeah, basically, it's like competitive, isn't it? So I still do it just for fun, really. Now I'm too old to do it all the time, but
Same,
just do it for fun because it's just like a hobby, basically.
same. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
So, in those old boy days, in the old internet GameFAQs, Angel Fire eras, what were the old
Yeah.
GameFAQs boards like? Who were these people you were beating in Doom and Quake?
Well, they were like, well, it's basically like the internet now, but just on forums instead of on social media. So it was just you would find the people that you liked, and you just hang out with those guys and just talk to them in the forums, and then play games with them if you could get games with them. Basically, that's how it would work.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's basically just people playing with each other rather than just era
Yeah.
of
Well,
technology.
now it's all just convenient. Like you just go in the game and it's all done matchmaking and all this stuff is done for you. But back then, you'd have to know somebody online to communicate with them and then get an internet connection with them to basically play them.
Makes sense.
So that's how, yeah. So that's how you get into it.
Huh. So, like, which games are we talking? You mentioned Doom and Quake, but those aren't really multiplayer games per se. Like, what were your big
Yeah,
multiplayer games?
yeah, they're like totally multiplayer.
Okay,
They're like
I'm
the
sorry.
biggest
Yeah, you're right.
multiplayer game. But like,
I'm thinking more of
um,
the speedrun. My bad.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you would play the multiplayer, and then you would see that these guys had times, and you would go, "Oh wow, these times are amazing." And
I
so then
gotcha.
I was like, "Oh, I could do this in other games, like Mario 64, for instance." And then I went and found these other guys that were doing it in GameFAQs, and I was like, "Oh, I could do this as well, and I
Dang,
can compete with these guys." And that's basically what I was doing.
makes sense. All a bunch of
Yeah.
like glitch hunting kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, that all came out of that and just played the game a lot, basically, and like looking for tricks and secrets and things like that.
Makes sense. I've
Yeah.
I've always been really interested in that myself.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you would see something in the game and you would think, oh, maybe I could do that. So you would just try it, and then eventually you would find these things, and you'd be like, oh, that's cool enough to post on the internet. So then you would just go and do that. which is basically what people do still, but
Yeah.
on a much larger scale. This is the difference now.
Yeah, especially nowadays. Nowadays, there's like, especially since like Pan and Koic, I think got a lot of people interested in glitch hunting, stuff like that.
Yeah, no one really understood it before. They knew about speedrunning, but they didn't realize that there was this whole other side of it where you basically break the game apart and like decide what you're going to do to run it as fast as you can, basically.
Yeah,
So that's what glitch hunting is really. And Pan and Koic was like, "Oh, here's exactly what I'm doing, and this is why it's so insane, and this is why everyone loves those videos." I think.
yeah, I'm a big fan of those.
Yeah, I love them.
What is your favorite? Do you watch him? What is your favorite Pan and Koic video?
My favorite one ever, or
Just ever, I guess.
currently, my favorite one ever is probably the float one, the one with Floaty the fish.
Oh yeah, Floaty is a classic.
Because it explains floats perfectly as well. Like,
Yeah, just like in a general computer science sense, it manages to use Mario
yeah,
64 to
exactly.
explain computer science terms and be entertaining at the same time. It's I don't know how he did it.
Yeah, that's like, well, this is what he's doing: is he's breaking the game down, and then you can understand exactly what it's doing.
Yeah, like I didn't even know that the float court. I mean, I guess it makes sense that the coarseness got into effect when you go too far out, but I just never realized that this is a game. You know, the computer science stuff will have effects in the game.
Yeah, it's like once you visualize it, and you kind of understand programming behind it as well.
Yeah. So on the topic of glitch hunting, you've discovered quite a few glitches in Mario 64 specifically. What was your process to try and discover those glitches? Like, how did you walk me through it?
Most of the time, what I was just doing was playing the game and just trying to find, tricks or secrets or sequence breaks or anything really. Then, if I found anything interesting or useful, I would just post it.
Makes sense.
That's usually how it would go. And so, when I found 16 star route, I basically knew the guys were doing speed runs already. So I was like, oh, we can just cut out half the stars if I just do this trick, basically. And then, so I just posted it.
Yeah, that is a thing I wanted to
Um,
mention. You did
yeah,
discover the 16-star route. Like, I think it's like top 5 most speedrun categories of all time. Um,
which is crazy to me. Like, I can't believe that it's that popular. It's crazy now.
and without you finding out that you can use MIPS to clip through the Bowser door, I mean, that would
Well,
have
I
had a.
think obviously it would have been found. This is the thing because it's quite a simple idea, but
Don't sell yourself too short.
I was basically ahead of the curve doing it.
Don't sell yourself too short. I'm just saying.
Thank you.
How many people would just mess around with a bunny? You know, I don't know. I don't
Well,
think. I think it
I
might
was
not have been found
looking.
for a while.
This is what I'm saying. I was looking for the stuff, but I wasn't looking exactly for that. It's just that happened to work, and I knew about all the other stuff like the BLJ and stuff.
Yeah,
So I just basically put it together, and I was like, "We can do this basically."
and boom, you can beat
And
the
so
game
yeah,
with under 70
you can.
stars.
Oh yeah, we knew that already, but
Well, yeah, that's true.
I was like,
What was it? Under
we can
31?
do it. Yeah, we can cut more out doing this.
Yeah. So way back in 2004, 16 years ago, was when you discovered 16 star. When you
Hmm.
made the discovery, and I researched this, you actually posted like a little teaser post for a new glitch allowing you to beat the game with under 31 stars. And instead of just saying, "Hey, here's how you do it," you actually were like, "Oh man, it uses the bunny. Good luck." What was what was your reasoning behind that?
uh, well, because I knew it would take me that long to make a video, basically, because making a video was like a much more elaborate process back then.
Oh yeah, Windows Movie Maker kind
No,
of stuff.
yeah. So I didn't want to post it without a video, basically,
And have
because I
people
wanted to
accuse
have
you of like
proof.
cheating or stuff?
Well, I just wanted to have proof for it at the same time as I posted it, because people would just go, "Oh, this is all fake." So I was like, "Oh, here you go. Here's a clue. See if you can do it." And I'll just do speed runs basically while you're doing that. And they did figure it out before I actually posted the video. So yeah, so we all basically figured it out at the same time.
Yeah, but you were the first. I mean,
Well,
but
technically, yeah, but because I just wanted to post it and make a video at the same time, basically, and let the guys have a chance to work out
yeah, let them glitch hunt it on their own a little bit.
a little bit. Yeah,
Makes sense. So, as the one time, by default, 16-star world record holder, what's your
yeah.
current 16-star PB?
My fastest recorded one is a 22:59. It's
Sub
on my
23, let's
YouTube.
go.
Yeah, I want a sub 20, but it's just a grind, isn't it, to get there? So I may do it at some point in my life, but I don't know when.
Makes sense. Yeah, it was a little bit of a grind for me. Not too much, though.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you didn't just discover 16-star. You discovered quite a few more things that I think a lot of people don't even really realize that you found. Like, when I was looking up some of the stuff, you found, like, obviously MIPS clip, but also you mentioned a way to bypass the Lakitu uh,
yeah,
at the start of the game by backflipping repeatedly along the left edge of the bridge.
yeah, yeah.
How how did
Yeah.
you discover that?
Same sort of way. Basically, I knew about you could get past, you could skip Lakitu, but you had to go on the castle roof and jump down, and you could skip it that way. And then I was like, oh, maybe you could just creep round this bridge and get past it. And you can. That's like that's basically
Yeah,
the
that's
story of
actually
it.
literally how it works. They just didn't.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And so yeah, so then again. I just thought, oh, this is cool, and you could use it for speed running. So I just posted it.
Well, now how do you feel that they don't use your intended backflip method to do it nowadays?
Well, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Because it's slower.
Well, it's
You
slightly.
just
It
want
might
it.
be slower than actually like doing just talking to Lakitu, but you still managed to do it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the backflips are like keeps you lined up perfectly along the edge, so you can just repeatedly backflip and get across it.
Without having to adjust your angle with the control stick.
Yeah, long jump can be tricky. People miss it still.
hmm And you could probably punch and jump out of it, maybe. You know, you can punch and
I don't
jump to
know,
cancel it.
maybe, possibly.
I mean,
Oh,
definitely, because you can
we
just
can't
walk
put
along
it.
the edge if you're precise enough, so that'll definitely work.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just a gap, basically. The trigger just isn't there.
Yeah. You also discovered a couple other glitches. This is the glitch segment that you've discovered.
Excellent.
Um, you've discovered both getting Chuckya into the pipe in Wet Dry World and Dry Pipe a little bit, messing with
Yeah,
the water level.
yeah.
How did those come along?
Um, those ones specifically. Which was the first one? The Chuckya.
Yeah, the Chuckya. Yeah,
The Chuckya cloning.
yeah, Chuckya cloning. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I think it was Curtis Bright.
Oh yeah, Curtis Bright,
I
legend.
think yeah, a legend. He posted that he had a thing about he was using a Game Shark and he went in the pipe with Chuckya and it turned into the other objects, but obviously this wasn't part of the Game Shark code.
Yeah,
So I was like, oh, that's interesting. But he couldn't get Chuckya in the pipe, obviously. And so
yeah,
I was like, oh, that's interesting because if you could do that without a Game Shark, you could basically get any item in the pipe. So then I was like, I thought about it for months and months, and then I was like, oh, you could probably grind on the edge and get in there with Chuckya and then get the items. So again, it's like you try it all out and it takes hours, and then eventually you manage to do it, and you're like, this is possible. So then you post it.
dang. So
Yeah,
it's
so that's basically what I did.
makes sense. And yeah, I mean
Yeah, and then
that's one of the coolest glitches. Just getting whatever you want. Cloning by itself is so cool.
yeah, because that was I was going for the star in the town. I forget what it's called,
Oh
but
yeah, the
it's
Vanish
behind a
Cap star.
fence.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's behind a fence. You're supposed to get the vanish cap, but you can get it with cloning without getting the vanish cap. So I was going for the capless thing.
Oh yeah, those challenges.
Yeah, so I was trying to get that, and you can do it obviously with cloning Chuckia. So that's what I was going for basically back then.
Makes sense. How did
Yeah,
you participate a lot in those challenges? Those A button
I did.
challenge.
Yeah, well, because they were just like starting out, so people would say, "Oh, I've got this many stars without using the caps," and I was like, "Oh, I can get this many stars without using the caps," which is more. And so then they'd have to try and figure out what I was doing, and then if and then obviously we'd all compete and like see who could get the best ones.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
those
it's
are
like you guys still do that with the tool assisted challenges and tasks and stuff like that. It's basically the same sort of idea.
yeah. Recently, well, I say recently, it was like a year ago at this point, but recently they found a way to do Wing Mario over the rainbow with no cannons in tasks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, turns out
How do they do that?
if you just fly around in a circle, you can kind of just build speed if you fly right. So you can just
Oh,
make it to the
wow.
top.
I presume you can only do that with a task, though.
Oh yeah, it's way too hard to do it RTA because you need like perfect flying and
Yeah, perfect flying is really hard.
yeah, it's hard even in a task, but
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why it takes so long to figure this stuff out. It's like
yeah,
because
at
you
the
could have
beginning,
theoretically done it as soon as the game came out, but it's now 30 years later.
yeah, the amount of things to discover in SM64 is definitely way less nowadays than it was when you guys were discovering all the cool glitches back then.
Yeah, well, we've got everything now, and you can just emulate it. So
Let alone emulate, you can build it natively.
yeah, exactly.
So there's like I remember there's a glitch found called like the 10K glitch, which is like if you
Yeah,
have
I don't know anything about that one.
if
I'm
it's you
interested
have
to know about
negative
it.
10,000 speed and like you can essentially have your speed multiplied by some weird thing and it's so weird. But that's the kind of thing that you really
Right.
wouldn't
It's just a weird thing that happens. Yeah.
yeah, like you can if you know if you have negative 10,000 speed, which in the first place is like okay, how do you get how do you get
Yeah. How do
that?
you get there?
Yeah. And it's like the level of the difficulty of trying to find new things in SM64 is just so much harder nowadays.
Well, yeah, exactly, because it's very old and we've been at this for a long time, basically.
Yeah. So long. What is it? Is it old enough to well, is it old? It is definitely old enough to drink in both of our countries. What is
Yeah, I
it?
know. Yeah,
1996? Oh yeah, that's like
yeah,
what?
it came out in
24?
97, 97 here. That's when I got it.
Did you play on PAL?
Yeah,
Oof. I'm sorry about that.
I know. Yeah, but when you're a little kid, you don't even realize this stuff is different. Like, I had no idea that PAL was different until obviously I got on the internet and was like, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, don't play the PAL version."
Oh no.
Well, and I was like, "What?" And now obviously I know it's slower and I can't handle it anymore. But
When you're a kid, you don't know any better.
I know exactly. You're just having fun with the game.
And even at like 25 frames per second, it's still a fun game.
Oh, I agree totally.
Actually, I think off the top of my head, there is one weird PAL quirk, which is like you can't do a slow get up from a ledge if you're holding A. I think that's like the only thing that is like specific to PAL.
Wow. Yeah, and it's got a different title screen as well. It says start
Oh
instead of
yeah,
press start.
I think it has a different TM color on
Yeah, it's
the
got some
initial
very
thing.
minor differences. And
Man,
obviously it's squashed and it runs slower.
yeah, other than those are obvious, but
And then there's the main ones.
the main ones like the TM color being different, yeah, that's the main one in PAL.
Yeah.
So let's see. So you mentioned how you played other games like Doom and Quake, and I
Yeah.
mentioned that I am completely a noob because I mentioned that I didn't think those were multiplayer. Um, other than SM64, what were some of your favorite games to glitch hunt in? Because a you had a site that had a lot of glitches on it, and you still do have that site.
Yeah,
You recently got it back.
yeah. Well, yeah, I recently went back and sort of set it all up again so it works. Um, I would say probably the biggest one was Halo. I used to go on those forums a lot and used to play those games the same way. Like you'd go online and you'd find games because it was before Xbox Live.
Oh yeah, so you had to find everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, so you basically had to talk to everybody in the forums. And when you were just on playing the single player, I would just find tricks as well, do tricks and glitches, and do the same thing and post them when I found interesting things, basically.
Have you found anything in Halo that compares to Mipsclip?
Not really, because it's not really speed running in the same way. Like, just do the missions one by one.
That's true.
You can't cut out the missions, basically.
Makes sense. Well, what
Yeah,
what are
so
some of your
you can
favorite glitches?
find tricks and stuff that cut stuff out, but it's all pretty obvious. Like, do grenade jumps and do
Yeah,
rocket jumps and use the warthog and things like this.
yeah. It's all because of the more linear. It's like if you found a way to like speed up a star in SM64, you still have to get the star.
Yeah, exactly. So you can sort of speed up the missions, but you still have to do the whole mission, basically.
Did you ever do like a full speedrun of Halo or any of the Halos?
No, not of the Halos. I did. I think I did try it or start learning it, but it's too hard, like because of all the fighting. I find
That's
and
true.
it's basically like learn a maze and a bunch of tricks and fight RNG at the same time. So it's pretty hard speedrun, I would say.
Oh yeah, it's and some of the tricks like Halo 2, the what's it called? The trick where you use the oh god, I'm really showing that I haven't played Halo. The energy sword. What's that called?
It's
Oh,
called I think it's called the Energy Sword.
oh, there you go. Never mind. I'm completely Halo expert.
I think it is
Um,
actually called that.
there you go. You can use that in Halo 2 to like fly across the map,
Yeah,
and
that's
I've always
true.
found that
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Used to speak to the guy who found that, and he was called
Really,
a guy called he was called Dark Helmet, I believe he was called. I think it was that guy.
that
And
is definitely a
yeah, so
Spaceballs
when the
reference.
game came out, he was like, "Oh, there's this crazy glitch in the game where you can fly across the map," and he was like, "Don't use it in multiplayer." I was like, "Okay."
Oh
And
man,
so obviously this thing was found immediately as soon as the game came out, and it got patched at some point, and
I
everyone rebelled, and I think they put it back in or something.
oh
There's like
wow,
some story like that. Yeah,
because it looks so crazy. It's
it's
essentially
such a cool trick.
it reminds me a little bit of like the BLJ in terms of that like it's such a basic movement thing like you lunge towards the guy but they just forgot to like they messed up the coding somehow and now you have a massive leap all over the entire map.
Yeah, because there's a window where you still have the lunge from the sword, but you have the other gun in your hand. So
So you can just continue it. Yeah.
yeah, it's essentially that's how it works. So you switch the weapon and you lunge at the same time, and you just get a massive lunge across the map.
Dang. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
so that's pretty useful in the speedruns
Oh,
and in
definitely.
multiplayer, obviously.
Oh man, man, now I'm just thinking of like BLJs in multiplayer
Oh
SM64.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can do that now, I believe.
That is true. You can do that, but like it's
Yeah,
not like a people aren't like, "Oh man, let's go play
there's no
multiplayer."
competitive game to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. It wasn't built around that. It's just a fan add-on. Shout outs to K's. So let's see. Let's keep going. Let's move on to the next question. Um,
Okay.
let's see. What's a good question right here? So, how do you feel about? Let's go back to 16 star a little bit. How do you feel about some of your glitching discoveries in SM64 still being like relevant, like that people still do 16 star runs, stuff like that?
Well, I'm pretty happy about it, to be honest. I think it's a strange category to hang around because it's not the any percent category and it's not the 100% category. It's like this weird category that
It's a meme category.
yeah, essentially a meme that people only do it because people did it before,
Yeah.
basically. But so they want to compare times. I think they just want to compare times with the other runners, essentially.
hmm Yeah, it's funny. I literally, like, earlier today was having people were arguing about the rules of 16 star now because there's recently they found another BLJ that you can do it. It's very precise, but it's not the BLJ on the stairs. It's the BLJ, like the blue
Okay.
wall thing that
Yeah,
prevents
under the
you.
ceiling.
Yeah. Well, there's like a one float place where if you
Oh
have a set
wow.
camera, you can do a BLJ and skip through the 30 star door. And
But it's
it's a
not.
little
But it's
precise.
not technically SBLJ. So
Yeah, it's a low ceiling BLJ. And if you ban that,
yeah,
you can't do LBLJ.
yeah,
So
exactly.
they had to be like, okay, let's just make it so you have to use MIPS Club.
That's the solution.
Yeah,
Oh, fair enough.
a lot easier to be like inclusive or exclusive rather than inclusive or the other way
Yeah,
around. One of those ways.
that's kind of how all the rules are in Mario,
Yeah,
because there's so many crazy glitches and stuff. You can't really avoid everything without saying, "Here's a list of things you can't do."
yeah. Well, I don't know if I agree with that because Mario 64 has a lot of crazy glitches, but I feel like for a majority of them, aside from like grinding, which can happen to basically anybody, a majority of the glitches in SM64 and why I always liked it, you kind of have to look at least a little bit for. Like on the surface level, the game is doesn't have a lot of glitches. You just play it, you're
It's
like,
true. That's true. And they even patched the BLJ years before anyone even knew about it. So
yeah, all
it's
the way back in '97.
interesting that they obviously they knew about it and they didn't want it in the game.
It is a bug, to be fair.
People found out about it essentially.
Yeah, and they. Speaking of that, speaking of VLJs being patched, how do you feel that your 16-star route is no longer possible on the most updated version of Super Mario 64, Super Mario 3D All Stars, recently released for the Nintendo Switch?
I don't mind it too much because it's just a different route, isn't it? Basically, so
Yeah,
you can still run the game, but you just if you want to do it, you have to do the longer categories. So I think
yeah,
that's
70
fine.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
70 or 120. I think 120 is my favorite category anyway. So
You just get more of the game, yeah.
it is because it's the longest one. I think I enjoy that the most.
You ever done it?
No, not a full 120 one. No, it's too much. It's too much work.
Yeah, it took a while. I remember I recently did one. It took me like 3.5 hours. It's like, wow, this is a
Do
lot.
one run.
Yeah, one run.
Yeah, so it's a lot of work.
But it was still very fun though.
Yeah. Where's that? Do you know where that is on the leaderboard?
Uh, I do, but I don't want to say it.
You don't want to say it.
Uh, okay,
It's
let
fair
me
enough. That's fair
let me
enough.
look. No, I'll say it. I'll say it. He called me out. I have to. I have to respond. All right, so I don't know if I ever actually submitted it. Roughly
I don't even know what mine would be. That's the thing, because I've
uh
never done it. Never timed myself.
294th. I am beaten
Wow.
by Nathaniel Bandy. Oof.
Wow.
That is.
YouTuber.
I would need to beat my own time now. That I'm a little. I can't believe that. He's the person one spot ahead of me. I can't. Oh
Wow,
man.
that's funny.
I feel like my Mario 64 cred just like went downhill slightly.
He plays the game a lot though.
Well, yeah,
I've
but he
seen him on
doesn't.
YouTube
He
playing
doesn't
the
really
game.
speed run it too much. Like he
Well,
doesn't even
he
have a
still
speed run
says.
profile.
He says.
That's true. Oh man. So let's see. So okay, let's move on to a couple more questions about game facts.
Okay.
What happened to the old SM64 glitching communities when GameFAQs and all those old sites shut down? Like what happened basically around
I
that
don't
time?
know really, because I wasn't really around for that stuff.
Okay, so when did you stop?
I sort of got off the internet for a few years. And when I came back, all those forums were basically dead, and it was all social media. So that's basically where we are now.
Yeah, basically. So what has your been? I feel like I probably should ask this question earlier, but what's your progression been in SM64? Like you were obviously active in the old days, but like you've done a couple 16-star runs, but how like what have you been doing?
Well, just having, just living life, basically having a normal life, and just playing the game occasionally. But
Makes sense.
yeah, but if I don't PB, I just don't post anything about it. So I just never bother PBing. So
That way you never have to post. It's perfect.
exactly, I just play other games and I post about other things basically. I'm playing Mario at the moment because of the All Stars collection, so I'm posting about it at the moment.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Mm.
I played it and I love the original and I like this one.
Yeah,
Uh,
the 64, you mean?
yeah, sorry, 64. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love the original. I don't like Shindo very much, but I feel like it's okay. 3D All
yeah.
Stars.
Shindu's just weird, isn't it? Just the
Yeah,
odd one out.
yeah, the double jump. Honestly, the sound effects are the worst part of it to me.
Yeah, I'm playing on the All because I've never played Shindu. Playing on the All Stars, and the sound effects are the weirdest part. Like Mario's voice is different, and that's so weird.
The double jump is the worst thing
I
ever.
know it sounds so weird to me.
It's like they like made raised it by like an octave or something. It's just so
I
off.
know, and the rest of the samples are the same. This is what freaks me out.
Yeah, like they changed like like they should have changed all of them so it's like consistent or like oh
Or
man.
just left it alone, like.
Yeah, that's what they really should have done. Just leave it alone. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it is funny playing a new version. It's quite interesting.
Oh yeah. And the another change they made in Shindo, which I feel like isn't really as well known, is they changed how you grab onto trees and poles. Um,
Yeah, you do a spin.
hmm that is proportional to Mario's speed. So the faster you're moving when you grab onto the pole, the more you spin.
Yeah,
But I feel like people don't know that was actually the original intended mechanic. But in the Japanese and US releases, and I think PAL too,
it's
it's in PAL, right?
broken.
The
Yeah,
the original releases accidentally set that to 0, so you
I know.
just always
Yeah,
spun the same amount.
it's actually broken in the game.
Yeah, and they fixed it in Shindo, but it just happened to be a
Yeah,
lot worse.
well, it's the same with BLJ, isn't it? That's actually broken.
Yeah,
They
and
just fixed it in the next version.
they didn't even fix it very well, cause like in have you
But
ever
left in
tried doing it?
a lot of other stuff that's broken.
Yeah, like you can still clone, you can still
And everything.
have you ever tried like actually doing a BLJ in All Stars?
Not yet. No,
It
I've seen it. I've seen it on the internet, so I just wouldn't bother.
it's so
Seen the
awkward
clips of it.
because instead of being like a normal like in the normal one when you do a long jump and you just move backwards, you just start and you're not doing a BLJ, you're just long jumping moving backwards. So you just like go backwards a little bit, you know?
Yeah, you can't do that now.
Yeah, now when you're moving backwards and you land from BLJ, it set your speed to literally 0. So it just looks so weird.
You can't move backwards at all.
Yeah, it's like wow,
Oh,
this
that's
is
really strange.
bad.
Well, that's the intended way, apparently.
Death of the
No
author
backwards
kind of stuff.
long jumps for you.
What'd you say?
Said no backwards long jumps for you.
Yeah, I
That's the intended way.
stupid Rumble Pack. Hate
No,
it.
the Rumble Pack. The Rumble Pack's quite nice on the Pro controller.
Oh, that's true. They actually the one thing they did change in 3D All Stars is the Rumble in Shindo version, the original Rumble is like really awful. Like it rumbles whenever
Yeah,
you do
is it
anything.
better?
Like you walk around and it's like shaking the controller versus the Rumble in 3D All Stars is actually pretty nice.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I'm quite liking that.
I find myself wishing that the original game had some kind of that Rumble like that wasn't just Shindo.
Yeah. Well, you could possibly hack it in back in or something
Yeah, but
because of the
Nintendo might not
because of the
like it that
port.
very much.
I know. Well, okay. We'll skip that one then.
Yeah. Let's not backdate those changes for at least a little bit. You know, let the game be not being sold anymore.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just skip that one for now.
Yeah. Okay. Here, let's move on to the next question. So we was talking about the older community and how everything's shifted to more social media than forums. What do you miss from that older forum-based community that isn't really around anymore in the current ones?
Um, well, I missed that you kind of knew everybody that was on there, and you could just sort of talk to everybody. Now, obviously, there's far too many people, so it's like you just have your little followers, and that's it.
Yeah, because like especially back then when you had to like talk to people when you wanted to play with them, um, like you had to essentially
Yeah,
know the people.
yeah, or just randomly find games, and then you would get to know the person because you were playing games with them repeatedly. Now it's all just random, like who you play against
Yeah,
and who you're talking to. Basically, it's like whoever's there.
yeah, and it's like even heck even in Mario 6, if you tried to like meet people who speedrun Mario, there's literally like thousands of those.
Millions, probably billions of them.
Yeah, so it's
So
like,
it's like, hello.
who are you? Oh, you have world record. Oh, nice.
Well, yeah, it's really cool. I think.
It is really cool. It is really cool that there's more people. It's just there's some sense
Yeah,
of camaraderie I think
that's
that's
the good thing
lost.
about it.
Yeah. Speaking actually of world record, have you ever watched the sub 15 16 star time? This is a requested question. Have you ever watched it? And if so, what's your opinion of it?
Is this Aki's time?
Yes.
Yeah, Aki. Uh, it's great. I never would have thought it would go sub 15.
Honestly, same. It's so
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
it's insane to me. Like the level of because it basically, yeah, like we said earlier, it's kind of a meme category, honestly. Like it's only there because the only reason 16 stars are still relevant is because SBLJ sucks.
Yeah,
That's basically
exactly.
the only actual reason. So the point that it's been pushed this far is like insane to me.
I know. Well, yeah, like I said before, I'm quite happy about it because it's like you started the meme.
Yeah, exactly.
So
This is
I
your
feel quite
meme.
good about it. Yeah, it's like my meme, and
Your
it's still
meme is now
going.
sub 15. That must
Yeah,
be,
exactly. Sub 15.
let's see. And
So I hope draws beats it, and then Aki has to get it again.
that'd be cool. Yeah, like I love seeing competitions for that kind of stuff. Just like the
Yeah.
competitive nature at the top is like those people are so good at Mario. Like
Well, yeah, that's what it's all about, really.
I put so much time in. Like it's kind of insane to me. Like I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at Mario. I have like an 18 or something,
No, yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
And I feel like, man, I'm doing pretty good. And then I watch that and I'm like, wow, this guy's beating me by 4 minutes.
I know it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's there's so much levels to this. Like there's people that
Yeah.
come in like getting 16-minute times that are like, wow, these guys are so much better than me. And those people see the people getting 14-minute times and they're like, wow, these people are
Well,
so much better
the
than me.
one person that's got a 14.
Well, yeah, sorry. Don't
So
want
there's
to.
only one.
Sorry, I should have been singular there, but
He's he's the holder at the moment.
yeah,
So
Aki. It,
I hope Draws gets it.
yeah, that's what I really would like to see. More
Mm.
competition at the top.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on.
But yeah, like I said in the 120 as well. And in 70. I like all the categories to be honest.
I like all of them except for 1 and 0 star.
I like to watch them. I wouldn't ever run them.
Yeah, that's basically where I'm at. They
Yeah.
SBLJ is it's awful. I feel like
Yeah.
everyone can agree,
Just watch that and I'm like, that just looks hard. Just looks way too hard.
especially 0 star. 1 star is pretty bad, but like, you know, if you tried enough times, you'll eventually
I
hit it.
think if you can get one, you can get the other. But it's just
It's just way more precise,
just
basically.
getting SBLJ, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Oh man. So you mentioned you like to watch some of that.
Yeah.
What's you've been around for a while in terms of Mario. What's your favorite like era of those kind of speedruns and stuff? Like, all the way back because you were around in like the era of, well, at least you predate the era of like Siglemic's Month of
Yeah,
Mario. You
Twitch
know,
and that.
what'd you say?
Twitch, basically.
Yeah. So you
Um,
were around when Twitch started. Um,
yeah.
so like, what's your favorite era of Mario, basically?
Well, obviously it's the Siglemic era because that was just great. I could just watch Siglemic playing Mario all day, and then and when Punkay became the world record holder, that was good as well.
That era, yeah,
And
that
then
was
Cheese, I like all those guys, and then Cheese, he was good as well. So basically, yeah, the Twitch era, I would say, it's probably been the best.
yeah, those are being able to watch the attempts is like great all the way back
Yeah,
in.
'cause then you hear about it as well, like as it's happening, and you can get in the stream
Yeah,
and
everyone's
you
like,
can
"Oh man,
watch them get in the world record.
he's on world record pace in Tippy," and everyone go
I
watch
know,
their chat
yeah,
right
it's
now.
so exciting. Yeah, so I like that era. I like this. Well, it's still going on, basically.
Oh yeah, all the way back. Let's see, because the last time Siglemic got a PB was like 6 years ago, which
Yeah, he
is,
basically retired, didn't he, from the game?
yeah. I mean, I can see why.
Yeah, you
He
do
kind of just
get
got burnt out.
tired of
Yeah,
it, especially when you're on Twitch all day.
that's the downside of the Twitch era. People want to see
Yeah,
you run Mario, and if you don't run
yeah,
Mario, you do something
they go
else.
nuts, basically.
Yeah, they're like, "What are you doing? Go play some
Yeah,
Mario. Come on, dude."
unfortunately. Yeah, so he gets, or presumably he gets sick of this stuff. So
Yeah. Either way, that I remember that because it's crazy, like the numbers that Sig was pulling back in the day. Like people don't know this. He was had like I think like 12,000 viewers or something
yeah,
insane. Like
yeah, 'cause Twitch itself was a lot smaller.
yeah,
So
like
people would just go on there to watch Sig or just go on there to watch, their own streamer that they enjoyed watching. Now it's like a whole thing like YouTube.
yeah. Nowadays people routinely get like thousands, but even today, like a
Oh
speedrunning
yeah,
stream getting
the
that
big ones
much.
now.
What'd you say?
The big streams now are just massive. Like, but back then Sig was like the biggest, pretty much.
Yeah, which is crazy to me that like Mario 64 speedruns used to be like that massive.
I know, yeah. Well, like I say, it's like the scale of it is a lot bigger now.
But like I'm talking about like
Probably more popular total now.
that's true.
Than it
There's a
was
lot of more
then.
people on Twitch.
Yeah, and there's a lot more people. But when there's a record, it goes shooting up, doesn't it? Because everyone just gets in the stream.
Yeah, like I remember I watched one of Cheese's records. I miss a majority of them just because I'm unlucky. But I remember I watched one
Yeah,
of Cheese's and it
I think I've
was
only seen two of them live.
which ones?
I can't even remember now. This is the thing. I just remember it was two of them. I
Makes
think I
sense.
saw Honey. I think I saw Honey's live one
You
as
saw
well.
Honey's live?
I
Wow.
think so, yeah. Because I think I was watching that race. They were
Oh yeah, he got
racing.
in a race, didn't he?
Yeah, and then everyone stopped the race and just watched him get the world record. I was like, wow, this is crazy.
That's such imagine like that's such a
Yeah,
crazy
that's
thing to
probably
have.
my favorite one. Yeah.
That yeah, like getting world record in a race is just like such a crazy concept. First of
I know,
all,
yeah, against all the other top players.
yeah,
And they all
because
stop. They're like, we don't even want to race now. We just want to watch this.
yeah, exactly. Like everyone just stop your run. There's a world record going on
Pretty,
right here.
it's pretty good.
You kind of have to feel a little bit bad about the person he was competing against.
Yeah, I
Like,
can't remember who it was. I think it was Cheese and Punky.
well, okay, I
If
don't
I
really
remember
feel that bad for
correctly.
those guys because they've had. Just
Because
imagine you're in.
they've also had the world record, so
Yeah,
it's all good.
yeah. So like I'm just imagining like a random noob getting into a race with like Honey, and they're like, all right,
I know, yeah,
I got like a 220.
with no idea.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, let's keep moving on. So you mentioned you kind of watch on and off a little bit. You play it sometimes. Um,
Yeah.
so how much do you keep up with the actual community behind SM64 nowadays?
Well, I mainly just watch the streams, like I said. And I just interact sometimes with those guys. And, well, I posted Discord as well.
Makes sense. And that's where most of the community is.
Yeah, I keep up with it. Yeah, but just not very much because I don't use social media very much.
Yeah. It's well, a little bit more than usual in these past couple months for me, but
Well, exactly. Like I'm on there all the time at the moment.
yeah, but when stuff starts if stuff starts opening back up.
I know.
Oh man. So all right, here's another question. If you were to come up with or predict any major SM64 glitches, strats, breakthroughs, or something, where do you think it would be at?
Um. Well, where do I think, or where do I want? Like, what do I want?
Where do you want it? Where do you hope there's a glitch found in the future? Something like
Well,
that.
I'm hoping someone finds arbitrary code at some point.
That's the dream.
It's the dream, but I don't know if it'll ever happen.
Yeah, sorry,
Go
keep
on.
going. SM64, we've been pretty close. I remember there's a video of you can turn one of the bob-ombs in Rainbow Ride into a butterfly,
Oh wow.
and it still acts like a bob-omb, like it explodes and everything, but it's just a butterfly. But there's always one thing keeping it like there's always one thing that just prevents it from working because it's
Doesn't
such a
work.
yeah. It doesn't work sadly. There's like one thing I don't remember what it is though,
Oh well.
and
It's
like
like in Ocarina of Time, you've got a lot more stuff to work with, like file names and the
mhm.
items, but you don't have any of that in Mario, so it's harder.
Oh yeah. Well, in Ocarina of Time, they basically just have cloning.
Yeah,
Basically, that's all it
exactly. And
is.
you can
But
do it with the items
mhm.
and with the file names.
Yeah.
We don't have that in Mario.
Well, the reason it works in Ocarina of Time is the objects can be different sizes in an Ocarina of Time, but in
Okay.
Mario they're all the
Yeah.
same size. So if you overwrite an object, it'll just be the object versus writing into the
Oh,
middle
different
of
object.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why Ocarina of Time arbitrary code execution works, and that's crazy too. Like, were you ever really that interested in OOT kind of stuff?
Yeah, I watched it a lot. I played that game as well when I was a kid, so I watched a lot of speedruns and glitches and stuff like that.
Nice. Like, what's your favorite OOT glitch?
Favorite one? Well, arbitrary code probably.
Well, other than arbitrary code, because that's like a
Other than
subset of.
Um, that's a really hard question.
Yeah, sorry. It's
There's
okay. You
so
got it.
many of them. Maybe frame. No, not frame walking. Seam walking. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, because it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. You just walk up the seams.
They just walk up the seams and you can just get out of all the maps. It's quite good.
Yeah, it's because it's so ubiquitous. There's always going to be
Oh,
a seam somewhere.
and the cartridge tilt. That's a good one.
Oh, cartridge tilt. That's a.
They can't do in speedruns.
Imagine if they allowed cartridge tilt in SM64 speedruns.
I don't think it's that useful. I don't think you can really do anything with it. But
Uh,
in Ocarina of Time, you could like clip through walls.
oof. Oh yeah, that could be really broke.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Just
before,
break everything.
like if door of time skip didn't exist, just like flip your cartridge a little bit. Oh,
And
there you
that's
go.
it.
Easy door of
Probably
time skip.
you could do basically do that with cartridge tilt.
Huh. That's pretty. I gotta try that.
Well, I wouldn't recommend it. This is what I'm saying.
That's
You
true.
might damage your game.
That's all right. It's 20 years old. If it's still working by now, it'll work forever,
No,
right?
yeah, there's plenty of OOTs around.
That's true. All right, let's see. Let's keep going. Um, so I asked you a question about the older community. What did you miss? What's on the flip side of that? What in the current community is better now than it was back in the old GameFAQs era days?
Well, now, like I said before, it's good to have way more people basically, and everyone just working together on all this stuff. That's really good. And just way better communication, like Discord and all that, is just much better than what we had back then.
Yeah, like the instant you can just talk to people instantly versus having to make forum
Yeah,
posts.
exactly. It's a lot easier to just set up stuff like this, for instance.
Oh yeah. Like imagine trying to do this interview over a forum.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a lot harder.
Yeah. Is there anybody you miss from back then that was heavily active and is just nowhere to be seen for years at this point?
Well, a lot of them basically, yeah. But that's just how it goes. People just change their tags or just disappear quite a lot.
Yeah, life stuff.
Yeah, sometimes they're still around. You just don't know it because they've got a different tag
Yeah.
or thing.
Let's see. Like for example, what was Curtis Bright's old tag?
He was called Bright Guy.
Oh yeah. Bright guy, and he was heavily active back then. Nowadays, he's still somewhat active. I think you can still get in contact with him, but obviously,
His
it's not like.
website's still up, so that's what I go by basically.
What'd you say?
But his website's still up, so that's
Oh
what I
yeah,
go by basically.
his website is such a time capsule of like
Yeah.
it's been the exact same since, other than the slight news updates. That
Yeah, much because it's like once you've got all the information, what else do you need like to put on it?
yeah, it's not like you're gonna find a new one up in a level or something
Yeah,
at this point in
and
the
he would
game.
probably put it on there if you emailed him. And was
Oh
like,
yeah.
by the way, you missed this one up.
Well, I think he's got all those pretty good. Like I don't think other than like I guess the impossible coin or whatever. Other than those, I think
Oh
he's
yeah,
got that pretty
exactly.
good.
That's still on there because Pan and Coat got it.
I think he did actually update the site for that. He's
Oh, there
updated it
you
for
go.
like
There you go.
he's updated it for like two reasons. One was that, and the other one was like some of the older runs were spliced.
Yeah, I remember that happening as well. The spliced runs.
Hmm. Were you like around at the time for that?
Yeah, they came to me and they were like, "You remember these 16-star runs?" And I was like, "Yeah." They were the world records, and they were like, "Oh, they're all spliced to hell, basically." And I
Oh
was like,
no.
"Oh God." I was like, "What's the evidence?" And they're like, "All the audio's just spliced." And I was like, "God,
Ugh.
this is such a bad fake as well." Like, I would have been happier if it was like a really good fake and they really tried hard.
Yeah,
But
but it was just like, oh man, they just spliced
good
together
fake.
at the black screens.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, well, just erase them all, basically.
Yeah, and it has to suck a little bit for you two as well because you knew those guys, like they were active
It's like, well, yeah, talk to them, yeah.
and like they
So
were lying the whole time.
it's kind of like a personal insult in a way, but
Yeah,
they're just kids. Like we were all just kids back then, so I don't
that's
really
true.
hold any sort of grudge about it.
Makes sense. It is just
Mm.
kids playing video games at the end of the day,
Well, yeah, well back then. Now it's
especially
like
back
all
then. Yeah.
adult.
Nowadays,
Yeah,
people are like
especially
sponsored to play video games.
I know, which again is something that I find crazy.
Man, where were those guys
'Cause
when I was playing?
I know, yeah. Where was this?
Oh man, dang. So, okay, let's move on to a little bit of a couple rapid fire questions.
Okay.
You can just answer these if you don't want to answer these rapid fire. You don't have to. If you want to.
Go. Just go. No comment.
Okay. So, what is what is your favorite glitch in SM64 that you didn't find?
Those I didn't find.
Yeah.
Um, that's the hard one.
And why is it time stop?
Time stop. Well, I'll just say time stop because
Oh
that is
man,
quite a good one.
that is quite a good one. Was that discovered around back then?
Well, what is it? Can you
Do you not
explain it
know
to
it?
me?
Oh man, you're
Yeah, I'll
asking
tell
the
you
right
something about
guy.
them.
I found that
Go
one.
on. Go for it.
In the Japanese version of
Yeah, it's Japanese only. I knew that.
if you grab the monkey that steals your hat, Ukiki, shout outs to Ukikipedia, Ukikicast.
Yeah.
if you grab him with a dive and land in the water, and then release him by pressing B, everything is stopped, and you can just walk around when everything's frozen.
Oh, that is
It's
pretty good.
it's pretty good. But
What
that's
what do you use it for?
you could use it for like infinite coins in a couple levels. It's
Oh,
really
nice.
yeah, it's really fun to just like mess around with. Basically, it's like you know the trick to beat Koopa the Quick with 0 seconds, right?
Yeah, where you do a triple jump.
And you jump away
Yeah.
from him before his text box, and then when you
Yeah.
land, he talks to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, in the original version, in the Japanese version, time's actually frozen the entire time when that happens.
Oh, right.
It's very fun to
Time's
mess
fr-
around with.
yeah. See, I'd never played the original Japanese version. This is why I probably didn't know that.
That was why I think that was why it was still around because I basically found that one and like
Yeah, yeah,
popularized that one a lot. So that was I
yeah.
think the region exclusivity of that was the real reason there was any glitches left to be found
Yeah.
because it's a lot harder
It's
to.
like things that will be patched in the later versions. So
Yeah,
it's probably Japanese only is probably the best place to look for new things.
yeah, the original release.
Yeah.
Yes, finally someone said time
Or the
stop.
beta release.
Let's see, because the past answers have been everything from the classic BLJ, astral projection, which you did find by the way. I want to mention that. So you couldn't
Yeah,
have
I
used that
sort of
one.
partially found it.
We take those.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Uh, and then I always like to say, and why is it time stop? Because I found time stop.
Time stop's good.
All right, next rapid fire question. What are your top 5 favorite non Mario video game glitches?
Top five favorite.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you about this Halo one. The tower to tower. Did you know about this one?
I did not. No, I'm not very. I had to ask you what the energy sword was called.
Yeah, about Halo. Well, do you know who Monopoly is? Mr.
Yeah,
Monopoly.
I know Mr. Monopoly. Yeah.
Well, there was this trick in the first Halo where we were trying to jump from one tower to the other tower.
Makes sense.
In that level, in the level Halo, the level's called Halo. And basically, it's an insanely hard trick to set up. It's like essentially doing an A button run on Mario.
Oh, so it's like.
But it's
Sorry.
just insanely hard to set up and do it. And so you have to jump from one tower to the other using a warthog, and you have to set up warthogs on the other side to like catch you.
Oh, wow.
This was the theory anyway, and no one did it for like 10 years. And then Mr. Monopoly did it, and someone else did it around the same time.
Huh.
That's probably my favorite one because that's like something that was around for years. That and like a lot of Mario things, like the one key. That's pretty much my favorite thing. But that's a Mario thing.
Yeah. I mean, we can go into one key if you'd like, but
Yeah, we can talk about that if you like.
what is your opinion on that? Like,
I just think it's great because it's like again, it's something that we thought about years before, and then it actually turned out to be possible. Basically, many years later.
yeah. And as a way, it only happened because of the A button challenge. Like, if Pan and Coic wasn't
Yeah,
around and the A button challenge wasn't around from all the way back in the day, that wouldn't be possible.
yeah, yeah. If they hadn't figured out all that stuff with parallel universes.
Yeah. It's really funny. There's like an old chat log somebody managed to dig up of like a really old Tasser, like Tasser, well, not old Tasser, but Tasser that was around back then. Swordless Link was saying, "Oh man, we finally managed to skip the 30-star door without needing MIPS. This is the end of SM64."
Yeah, it's the end. Someone always says that. It's like this is the end.
Oh man, maybe if I say it, I'll be proven wrong. Like this SM64 will never be improved. Someone prove me wrong. Oh man. Yeah, that's a really fun
But
task.
obviously, that's not the end. So you can sequence break it even further.
I don't even know. Like, I don't even know how you would see. The only way I could think of is like going upstairs early, but that's just
Yeah,
not a
that's
thing.
really the thing, but
At that point, you just need
again,
Ace.
no way to do that, is there? So
You basically just need Ace at this point to have any
exactly,
sort of
that's the next thing.
man hoping there's Ace eventually.
Well, it's really hard, isn't it? It's clearly really hard.
Yeah, it is very hard, and especially like they've decompiled the whole game and they still
Yeah,
haven't.
you can find the whole thing now, so
Yeah, so
can't find it, is it?
they can't find it by now. Uh,
No.
I don't know. And definitely, I'm not just saying that because I bet somebody $20 that there would be Ace. Um,
Who did you bet? Are you
Mr.
gonna call them
Cheese,
out?
I think.
Call them out.
Oh man, I am gonna lose $20, aren't I?
When,
Anyways,
when's the time limit? You must have a time limit on this. You can't just wait.
2021? Question mark?
Oh, is it 2021?
I think so.
No chance then. It
I
may
gotta,
happen in the future.
I gotta put up a bounty for $1 less than I would have for this bet. $19 bounty for Ace.
Yeah, I would actually put a bounty on Ace, I think. But don't have as much money as Pannon.
That's true. I don't know how he has thousands of dollars to drop on obscure Mario glitches.
I don't either.
Must be nice.
I know.
I'll have to ask him that sometime. Anyways, next rapid fire question. We're really speeding through these.
Okay.
It's all right. You don't have to rapid fire if you don't want to. This has been
alright.
good too. Anyways, so this is a question you can easily answer rapid fire. What's your favorite Mario meme?
I can't say parallel universes.
Why not?
Or can I say parallel universes?
You can you can definitely say parallel universes.
That's a pretty funny one. And so is personalized copies. That's quite funny.
Oh yeah, that's
So
the
those-
recent
those
one.
are my two favorite ones.
Those are pretty good sometimes.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
So, I already asked. The next one was going to be what's your favorite Pan and Coic video, but we already know that's Floats.
Yeah,
It's a
floaty.
classic. Here's a good
Oh,
one.
and the 255 coin limit ones. They're really good.
Oh yeah, those are good. Those are pretty old at this point. So those are like one of the original
those
videos
are
he
like
made.
his earlier ones.
Yeah, and it still holds up. Honestly, most of his older videos still hold up.
Yeah, that's like another thing I was doing back then was trying to get all the coins. And then he did it on his channel, so I was like, this guy's really interesting.
When did you find out about him?
Pannon, he came onto my forum, I believe.
Oh really? System Crash?
Yeah. And like posted his videos. So that's when I first saw his YouTube channel.
Huh.
Like many years ago.
Yeah, this would be like 2010 at this point.
Yeah, something like that. So it was before he did Rolling Rocks and like everybody found the channel.
Yeah, before he blew up.
Yeah.
Huh. So what was the old forum like?
My forum.
Yeah, your forum.
It was just the one attached to my website basically. So it was mainly about video games and glitches, but it had all sorts of sections that you could just talk about. It's still there. You can still see it.
Is
You
it?
just have to find it. Yeah, you just have to find it on the internet.
Huh. I'll have to check that out a little bit.
Okay.
Probably not as active as it was back in the day, but
It's not had any posts for like years because I basically stopped bothering with it. But it's back. It's still there.
Huh.
Back now.
I'll have to check that out. Because there's probably
Yeah.
some good posts on there from people that are now.
Yeah, there will be if you go through it. But
I wonder if. No, I'll save that for later. All right. Next question. So we know that there's a couple of the people on GameFAQs that you interacted with. Who was the coolest SM64 old school folk?
well, Curtis was pretty cool. Mentioned him.
Yeah.
So he was probably the coolest. And then Alex Penev was pretty cool.
Oh man, yeah, those are two big names.
Yeah, they were pretty cool guys. And Miles was pretty cool.
You know,
So
Miles still
they-
makes videos.
He still posts them, but they're mostly just old videos.
Yeah.
And he's not done any for ages either. But at the same time, he cheated runs, so it's like, what can
Yeah.
you do?
His
You
image
can
is a little
basically
tainted.
trust that you can basically trust that they are real, but can you ever really trust it?
Yeah,
That's the
there's always going to
problem.
be that doubt in the back of your
Yeah,
mind now.
that's the problem with it. So, but those other guys were definitely cool.
Nice. Next question. What is your opinion on Luigi finally being found in Mario 64?
Well, I knew it would happen, basically. I knew it would happen eventually because he was in the game at some point, so he must be there.
Yeah. Was
That's
there ever
basically
any like people? How many often did you get people saying, "I found Luigi in Mario 64"? If you just do this on the old
how
forums.
times. And I was like, this is all fake, guys. Every time I was like, this is all fake because he's not in the actual game. He's
Oh,
there in the code.
oh he's barely there in the code.
Oh, barely there.
Oh man. Because like there's a nowadays if someone says, "Oh, there's the way to find Luigi," it's like fairly obviously like, "Oh man, okay." Haha.
Yeah. I had to go to extreme lengths to actually find him.
Yeah. And heck, he wasn't even in the game. He was just in like the leaked files that they found.
Yeah, essentially.
So he was literally you were never gonna all those people saying you just have to
He was
grab it.
basically taken out.
Yeah.
So the only way you could find him is by putting him back in, essentially.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
All those people saying you have to grab every tree in the courtyard without touching the
And
ground were lying to me.
it's funny how these myths like appear and
Yeah,
then they just hang around forever.
yeah, just run around. What is it? Get every coin in the game. Run around the star. What's it called? The star fountain like 1,000 times or something.
Yeah, and then in Odyssey you can get a star on that star. So I wonder if that's like a reference.
Oh man, yeah, they definitely were trying to reference some of that old school stuff from that. I actually really liked that when I played through Odyssey. That was like, oh man, they put in the courtyard. This is great.
No, yeah, the references and the costume, the 64
Oh
costume.
yeah, the
That's really
64 costume. It felt really nice to see that. Like,
yeah,
even
it's a good
though,
call.
yeah. All right, next question.
Okay.
Sonic or Mario? I feel like I might know the answer already.
Well, I'm gonna say Sonic.
Obviously, we all know.
Obviously, there you go.
Obviously,
I'm a
yep.
huge Sonic.
The blue blur, gotta love him.
Yeah, except in Smash, he's really annoying.
I completely agree in every way.
So there you go.
How often do you play Smash?
I'm playing Melee at the moment because Slippy just came
Oh yeah, Slippy's great.
out this. Yeah, I'm just playing quite a lot at the moment.
Who do you mean?
Who do I mean? Falco and Puff.
Really? That's a combination.
I know. Yeah, it's a weird combination.
Huh.
I've been playing it since the GameCube basically came out, so it's like a weird hybrid.
Yeah, I guess you kind of just pick up a character and you kind of just like stick with them, and you just
Yeah, I started with Falco years ago, and then I switched to Puff at some point, and now I just play both of them.
makes sense. More of
Yeah,
a Fox guy myself. I hate having working fingers.
yeah, you'll hurt yourself with Fox.
Oh, don't worry, I have. All right, let's see. Next, here, this will be the last rapid fire question. Favorite non-Mario game ever?
Favorite non-Mario game?
Yeah.
Possibly Halo, or possibly Quake. Those are probably my two biggest ones.
FPSs.
Yeah, FPS are really what got me into games, I think, in the first place.
The first place shooters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, those are especially back in the day, because like hell, speedrunning by itself basically spawned from Doom and Quake, and Halo was huge. Still is huge,
Yeah,
but it
exactly. Yeah, it's like it all came from that competitive side of it, basically, like doing the death matches and doing speed runs.
yeah. And then, yeah, that's basically where speedrunning is today. Now people are sponsored because people found out
It's
about
great.
rocket jumping.
I know, yeah, basically.
It's the progression is insane. What do you think? How do you feel about that sense of progression from back in the day?
Well, it's just massive now, isn't it, compared to how it was? That's basically how I feel about it, and that's just crazy to see.
Honestly, I feel the same way. It's
Yeah.
it's huge now.
Like every game now, it's like every game has speedruns, and every game is an esport. So it's like just an absolutely crazy time.
Yeah, you could like, oh man, you could like pick up a game like Math Blaster, and there's like 10 people that have runs of it.
I know. And they're all streaming on Twitch like right now.
Yeah, it's insane, and it's even for like obscure games such as that, and it's
Yeah, if that's your game that you love from your childhood, it's brilliant.
yeah, it's the progression is just crazy in terms of that, I think.
Yeah.
So that was the last rapid fire question. Is there any other questions? Anything you really want to talk about that I haven't really asked you? Any like I don't know.
Uh, well, I was going to ask you about Ukikipedia and the
Right.
podcast in general.
That is a great question. I probably should plug Ukikipedia more in these podcasts. Ukikipedia is basically a wiki about Mario 64 stuff. Heavily Mario 64 themed. It has basically a lot of info about a lot of like techniques, levels. It's where they host the speedrunning guides nowadays. There's a
Well,
lot of work that goes into it, and there's a lot of information. It's basically like sm64.com, but like a wiki.
yeah, it's like a wiki for Mario.
Yeah, and it's super cool. Everything's I've been it's super cool. If you like Mario 64 and you haven't checked it out, you should probably check it out.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, there's like 20 different articles on like ways to get hyperspeed. It gets pretty in depth.
If that's what you need to know.
Yeah, it is. And that's it's like a reference guide for especially like a lot more technical stuff, as well as the RTA guide, which is super cool. And also they do podcasts. Shout out to Ukikicast. That's what this
Brilliant.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was that one, and I was going to ask you. I heard you on the GDQ stream, and the
Yes.
doing the one key, not the one key, the 1 star pass, basically.
Yeah,
So
I
how
did do
was that?
that. That was definitely something. There was I wish I had a better mic. Um I don't know how well my mic sounds to you, but
It's
uh
pretty clear.
yeah, that's what my mic should have sounded like. Um
Oh, it didn't.
yeah, not really sure why, but other than that, it just went really well and I'm really happy with how everything went and yeah, it was great to be able to do that.
Yeah, it was really good.
Thank you. I practiced a lot for that. I just wish the mic was better.
Yeah.
There's always got to be
And
something wrong.
the other thing that I was going to plug was my brother's book on Amazon.
Oh, really? What's it called?
It's called Ancient Relativity. So if you're interested in books and relativity and philosophy, basically,
Huh.
then that's a book that you can check out.
Ancient Relativity. What's your brother's name? Is the author's name?
Called Matthew Duncombe.
Huh. Dang, I'll have to check that out.
He's
We'll
my
put a
brother.
link to that in the description of the videos.
Yeah, go for it.
Nice. So that's like about like
It's
relativity.
about essentially about ancient philosophy. So if that's what you're into, like Plato and things like
Ah,
that.
cool. Well, we'll definitely put in a link to that.
Okay.
All right.
So that'll be it.
And yeah, I feel like now's a pretty good time to wind it up.
All
Uh,
right, brilliant.
Thank you, Domdunc, for being with me today. Answered a lot of questions about SM64 in general, the old school stuff, how you feel about the new school stuff, lots of that stuff. So, thank you for being on here.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And this has been Ukikicast episode 4. Thank you all for listening, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.